Laura went to the clinic for answers about nausea and fatigue. She left with a pregnancy test, a diagnosis, and the shock of her life. Because the doctor who delivered the news was not a stranger. He was the man who had spent 6 weeks making her laugh, making her hope, then disappearing without a trace. They locked eyes across that sterile examination room, and the professional mask he tried to wear cracked immediately. She had come for a simple checkup, but nothing about what happened next would be simple. Not the pregnancy, not the fact that he ran the most exclusive clinic in Gangnam, and definitely not the truth about what else he ran in the shadows of Seoul. Laura sat in the taxi, scrolling through risk assessments on her phone. The nausea had been going on for 2 weeks now. She kept telling herself it was stress, bad kimchi, maybe that seafood place near the office, but her body knew better than her excuses. The clinic looked expensive. Glass and white marble, the kind of place where rich people went to have their problems fixed quietly. Her colleague had recommended it. Same week appointments, she had said. Professional. Discreet. Laura filled out the intake form while the taxi driver waited for payment. Name, she typed, then paused. Adaze Okan. Her middle name. Her mother's maiden name. She had used it before, back in Lagos when she wanted to move through the city, without her father's reputation following her old habit. She did not think too hard about why she was using it now. She paid the driver and walked into the building. The waiting room was quiet. A woman in designer clothes sat across from her, flipping through a magazine. Soft music played from hidden speakers. Everything smelled like lavender and money. Laura opened her work tablet and pulled up the files she needed to review before the afternoon meeting. If she was going to take an hour off, she might as well use the waiting time. Her name was called. Well, not her name, Adaze Okan. She followed the nurse down a hallway, answered the standard questions, stepped on the scale, gave blood. The nurse smiled too much. Laura smiled back the exact amount required. "The doctor will be with you shortly," the nurse said and closed the door. Laura sat on the examination table and went back to her tablet. She had 3 emails to answer and a report to approve. The appointment was just a formality. She probably just needed vitamins or rest, or to stop eating lunch at her desk. The door opened. She did not look up immediately. She was reading a clause about asset reallocation, and it did not make sense. Adaze Okan? Her head snapped up. Jun Hyuk stood in the doorway holding a tablet. He was reading it, not looking at her yet. White coat over dark clothes, hair pushed back. The same face she had not seen in 3 weeks. He looked up. The tablet stopped moving. 4 seconds passed, maybe 5. Laura could hear her own heartbeat. She could hear the air conditioning. She could hear the entire building, holding its breath. His face did not change, but something behind his eyes did. A shift, a crack in the wall. He stepped inside, closed the door. The click was very soft and very final. "Adaze," he said. His voice was even, professional, like they were strangers. Like he had not kissed her neck in his apartment 6 weeks ago while the city lights blinked outside. "It's a family name," Laura said. Her voice came out steady. She was proud of that. He looked at her for 1 more second. Then he sat down, opened her file on the tablet, and became a doctor. "What brings you in today?" She stared at him. He was really going to do this. Pretend, perform. Fine, she could pretend too. "Nausea, fatigue. I think I need vitamins." He asked her questions. She answered them. "When did the symptoms start? How often? Any dizziness? Any other changes?" It was the strangest 2 minutes of her life. Then the nurse knocked and entered with a small envelope. She handed it to Jun Hyuk and left. He opened it. Read the paper inside. Laura watched his face, watched the exact moment he understood. He read it again, slower this time. Then he placed the paper face down on the desk and went very still. The silence was different now, heavier. When he looked up, the professional mask was gone. Laura. Not Adaze. Laura. Her real name in his voice after 3 weeks of nothing. Her stomach dropped. "You're pregnant," he said quietly. "I see that," she said. "It's mine." It was not a question, but she answered anyway. "Yes." He stood up, walked to the window, stood there with his back to her, one hand on the glass. She waited. She was good at waiting. 2 years in Seoul had taught her patience. But her hands were shaking, so she put them in her lap. "I didn't know this was your clinic," she said. "I know." He did not turn around. That surprised her, that he believed her, that he knew she had not come here to trap him or corner him or make a scene. "I need to leave," she said. She stood up. reached for her bag. Laura. She stopped. He turned from the window, looked at her with something she could not read. I'll have a car take you. She almost laughed. Of course. He could not help himself. Managing, fixing, controlling the exit. I have legs, she said. She walked out. The hallway was bright and cold. Her heart was beating too fast. She passed the nurse, past the waiting room, pushed through the glass doors into the soul heat. She made it 2 blocks before she had to sit down. There was a bench outside a coffee shop. She sat, put her head in her hands, breathed, pregnant, with his child. The child of a man who had disappeared from her life 3 weeks ago like smoke. Her phone buzzed. A message from her supervisor. The meeting had been moved up an hour. She needed to get back to the office. Laura stood up, smoothed her skirt, put her phone away. She had survived worse than this. If you are enjoying this story so far, do me a favor and hit that like button. Let me know in the comments what you think Laura should do next. Should she tell him? Should she handle this alone? Drop your thoughts below. She went back to work. That night, Laura sat in her apartment staring at the test results the clinic had emailed her. Positive. 6 weeks. She had known, of course. Her body had been telling her for days, but seeing it in writing made it real in a way that sitting in his office had not. 6 weeks ago, she had still been sleeping in his bed on weekends. 6 weeks ago, he had still been answering her calls. She opened her laptop and tried to work. The financial models blurred together. She closed the laptop. Her phone rang. Not her sister. Hey. Nkechi's voice was bright and loud. I'm bored. Entertain me. Laura smiled despite everything. You're supposed to be studying. I am studying. I'm studying the best way to convince you to let me visit Seoul next month. Nkechi, I'm serious. I have money saved. Well, some money. I can stay with you. I'll cook. I'll clean. You won't even know I'm there. You've never cleaned anything in your life. Rude. True, but rude. Laura leaned back on her couch. Outside her window, the city glowed. Gangnam never really slept. There were always lights, always movement. How's school? Laura asked. Hard. Boring. I'm reconsidering my entire life. How's the corporate slavery? Lucrative. Nkechi laughed. Then her voice shifted. You sound tired. I'm fine. Laura, I'm fine, Nkechi. A pause. Her sister knew her too well. Is it a man? Nkechi asked. Laura closed her eyes. When is it ever a man? That's not a no. Goodbye, Nkechi. Wait, I'm sorry. I'll stop. But seriously, are you okay? I will be, Laura said, and she meant it. She always figured things out. Always landed on her feet. They talked for another 10 minutes about nothing important. When they hung up, Laura felt a little less alone. Then her phone buzzed again. A delivery notification. She had not ordered anything. 20 minutes later, her doorbell rang. A courier handed her a small package. She signed for it and brought it inside. Inside was a business card. Thick, expensive paper, embossed text, private medical concierge services, and a handwritten note on clinic stationery. You need care. I can make sure you have it. No obligations. Laura read it twice. Then she threw the card across the room. No obligations. Like she was a problem to be managed. A situation to be resourced. Not a person. Not someone who deserved an actual conversation. She left the card on the floor and went to bed. At 2 in the morning, she got up and retrieved it. She hated herself a little for that. The next morning, Laura walked into Daesung Capital with her shoulders back and her face neutral. She had been here for 2 years. She had earned her place. She had outlasted 3 senior analysts who had underestimated her and paid for it. The morning meeting started at 9. Her supervisor, Mr. Park, stood at the front of the conference room with a presentation pulled up on the screen. We have a new assignment, he said. High priority. Chongwon Medical Group is expanding into foreign investment portfolios. We've been hired to conduct a full financial audit before their next phase. Laura's pen stopped moving. The company owns several private clinics in Gangnam, Mr. Park continued. Very exclusive clientele. The principal stakeholder is a doctor, Seo Jun-hyuk. The room tilted slightly. Laura, Mr. Park said, looking directly at her. I'm assigning you as lead analyst. This is a good opportunity. High visibility. Don't mess it up. She nodded. Understood. Good. I'll forward you the files this afternoon. Initial review meeting is scheduled for next week. The meeting continued. Laura took notes. Her handwriting was very neat and very controlled. When the meeting ended, she walked back to her desk, sat down, and stared at her computer screen. Lead analyst on Jun-hyuk's company. She was going to be investigating the finances of the man whose child she was carrying. The man who had ghosted her. The man who had handed her a business card instead of an apology. Her coworker, Jennifer, leaned over the divider between their desks. "You okay? You look weird." "I'm fine. That's the face you make when you're lying." Laura looked at her. Jennifer was American, sharp, and the only person in the office who did not treat Laura like a visiting curiosity. "I just need coffee," Laura said. "You need something stronger than coffee, babe, but I'll join you." They went to the break room. Jennifer made them both terrible instant coffee and leaned against the counter. "So," Jennifer said, "Cheongwan Medical, fancy, very. I heard the owner is gorgeous, like unfairly gorgeous. Have you seen him?" Laura added sugar to her coffee and did not answer. Jennifer's eyes went wide. "Oh my God, you have. I don't know what you're talking about." "You absolutely do, Laura." "Did you sleep with him?" "Jennifer, you did. You slept with the audit target." "Keep your voice down," Jennifer whispered loudly. "You slept with the audit target." "I didn't know he was the audit target when I slept with him. Obviously." Jennifer covered her mouth. "This is insane. What are you going to do?" "My job." "Laura, you can't audit someone you've been involved with. That's like every ethics violation." "I know. So tell Park. Recuse yourself." Laura sipped her coffee. It tasted like hot regret. "And say what?" "Sorry, I can't do this assignment because I slept with a client and now I'm pregnant with his baby." Jennifer choked on her coffee. "You're what?" Laura closed her eyes. She had not meant to say that part out loud. "Forget I said that." "Laura." "Jennifer, I will pay you to forget I said that." Jennifer set down her coffee cup very carefully. "Does he know?" "Yes, and nothing. He sent me a business card for a medical concierge service." Jennifer stared at her. Then she said a word that would definitely not be safe for children. "Men are trash." Jennifer concluded. "All of them. Every single one. Helpful." "I'm serious. What are you going to do?" Laura looked out the break room window at the skyline. Somewhere out there, Jun Hyuk was probably in his clinic seeing patients, being competent and respected, and entirely unaware that his life was about to get complicated. Or maybe he was aware. Maybe that was why he sent the card. Distance, management, control. "I'm going to do the audit," Laura said. "That's insane." "Probably." "Laura, I'm good at my job, Jennifer. I'm going to do the audit. I'm going to be professional, and I'm going to figure out the rest later." Jennifer looked at her for a long moment. Then she shook her head. "You're braver than me," she said. "Or stupider. Maybe both." They went back to their desks. Laura opened her email and started reading through the preliminary files on Cheongwan Medical. Revenue streams, asset allocations, corporate structure. And there, listed as principal stakeholder and CEO, Dr. Seo Jun Hyuk. She looked at his name on the screen and felt something twist in her chest. Then she opened a new document and started taking notes. The preliminary audit meeting was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Laura had 5 days to prepare. She used all of them. She read every document, every financial report, every corporate filing. She built spreadsheets. She mapped revenue streams. She noted inconsistencies. And there were inconsistencies. Nothing obvious, nothing illegal on the surface. But the money moved in strange ways. Payments to consulting firms that did not seem to consult on anything. Real estate holdings that did not generate income. A corporate structure that was just complicated enough to make you stop looking. Laura did not stop looking. By Monday night, she had a list of 12 questions that needed answers. She also had a headache and nausea that would not quit. She made herself eat plain rice and went to bed early. Tuesday morning, she dressed carefully, professional, a gray suit that fit perfectly, hair pulled back, minimal jewelry. She looked like someone who knew exactly what she was doing. She felt like someone about to walk into a fire. The meeting was at 10. Jennifer caught her before she left. "You sure about this?" "No. Want backup?" Laura smiled. "I'll be fine. Text me if you need an emergency exit call." "Deal." Laura took a taxi to Cheongwan Medical. The building looked different in daylight. Less intimidating. Just glass and clean lines and the quiet hum of money. She walked into the lobby, gave her name to the receptionist, was told to take the elevator to the 3rd floor. The conference room was all windows and white furniture. A long table, leather chairs, everything designed to make you feel like you were somewhere important. 3 people were already there. A man in his 50s, expensive watch, bored expression, The CFO, according to her notes, a woman in her 30s, sharp suit, sharper eyes, the corporate lawyer, and June Hyuk. He stood near the window, hands in his pockets, looking at his phone. He glanced up when she entered. Their eyes met for half a second. Then he looked back at his phone like she was nobody. Laura's heart was beating too fast, but her face stayed calm. "Miss Mensah," the lawyer said, standing to shake her hand. "Thank you for coming. I'm Attorney Han. This is Mr. Choi, our CFO." Mr. Choi nodded but did not stand. "And Dr. Seo, our CEO." June Hyuk turned from the window, extended his hand. Laura shook it. His hand was warm. The handshake was brief and professional. "Mensah," he said. His voice was perfectly neutral. "Dr. Seo," she replied. They sat down. Laura pulled out her tablet and her notes. "Shall we begin?" Attorney Han said. For the next hour, Laura asked her 12 questions. She asked about the consulting firms. Mr. Choi had answers that sounded good but meant nothing. She asked about the real estate holdings. Attorney Han explained the long-term investment strategy. She asked about the corporate structure. June Hyuk said it was designed for tax efficiency. Laura took notes. She did not push. Not yet. This was a preliminary meeting. She was mapping the terrain. But she knew what she was looking at. This was not just a medical company. This was a shell. A beautiful, expensive, perfectly legal shell wrapped around something else. When the meeting ended, everyone stood. Attorney Han and Mr. Choi left together, already talking about lunch. Laura packed her tablet into her bag. "Ms. Mensah." She looked up. June Hyuk stood on the other side of the table. They were alone. "Yes?" He hesitated. For just a moment, the professional mask slipped. "Can we talk?" Privately, Laura looked at him, at the man who had been inside her body, who had made her laugh, who had disappeared without explanation, who was now asking for a private conversation like he had any right to one. "I don't think that's appropriate," she said. "Given the circumstances, Laura, it's Ms. Mensah, in this building, during this audit." His jaw tightened. "Fine, Ms. Mensah. 5 minutes." She should have said no, should have walked out. She did not walk out. 5 minutes, she said. He closed the conference room door. They stood on opposite sides of the table. "Are you keeping it?" he asked, straight to the point. No small talk, very him. "I don't know yet," she said, "and when I decide, you'll be the second person I tell." "Who's the first?" "Me." He looked at her. Something moved across his face. Frustration, maybe, or respect. "Hard to tell. I can help," he said. "Financially, medically, whatever you need. I don't need your money. I know you don't need it. I'm offering it anyway. How generous." "Laura, Mrs. Mensah." He took a breath, let it out slowly. "You're angry. I'm professional. You're both." She could not argue with that. "Why did you disappear?" she asked. The question came out before she could stop it. He looked away. "It was necessary. That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you right now." Laura picked up her bag. "Then we're done here. Wait." She stopped at the door, did not turn around. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, "for how I handled this, all of it." She looked back at him. He looked tired, almost human. "Sorry doesn't actually fix anything," she said. "But thank you for saying it." She left. In the elevator going down, her hands started shaking. She made it to the street before the tears came. She did not cry often. She had learned early that crying did not solve problems. But she let herself have 2 minutes. 2 minutes of standing on a Gangnam sidewalk trying not to fall apart. Then she wiped her face, hailed a taxi, and went back to work. That evening, Laura came home to find a black car parked outside her building. She walked past it, went inside, took the elevator to her floor. When she opened her apartment door, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost did not answer, but something made her pick up. "Miss Mensah?" A man's voice, polite, professional. "Yes, my name is Detective Woo Sang-il. I work in financial crimes. I was hoping we could talk." Laura's stomach dropped. "About what?" "About Dr. Seo June Hyuk. I believe you're conducting an audit of his company." She sat down on her couch. "I can't discuss an ongoing audit, Detective. I understand. I'm not asking you to. I just think you should know who you're investigating. I know who he is." A pause. "Do you?" the detective asked. "Because the financial statements won't tell you everything." Laura closed her eyes. "What do you want?" "Just to talk. No pressure. No recordings. I can meet you anywhere you're comfortable." "I'm not comfortable meeting you anywhere, Detective." "Fair enough. But if you change your mind, here's my number." He recited it. Laura did not write it down. "Miss Mensah," he said before hanging up. You should know who you're carrying a child for. The line went dead. Laura sat very still. How did he know? How did he know about the baby? She stood up, walked to the window. The black car was still there. She closed the blinds. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Different from the detectives. The car outside is mine. Security. You don't have to use it. But it will be there. J. Laura read the message 3 times. Then she threw her phone on the couch and went to take a shower. When she came out, there was another message. This one from her supervisor. Great work at the preliminary meeting. Keep digging. I want a full report by end of month. Laura looked at the message. Looked at the business card from the medical concierge service, still sitting on her counter. Looked at the detective's number she had not written down but had definitely memorized. She was standing in the middle of something much bigger than a surprise pregnancy, and she had no idea how to get out. Laura spent the next 3 days buried in Chongwon Medical's financial records. The more she looked, the more questions she had. The consulting payments went to shell companies. The shell companies had addresses that did not exist. The real estate purchases were always in cash, always just under the reporting threshold. Someone had built this very carefully. Someone who knew exactly how to hide money in plain sight. On Thursday afternoon, Jennifer dropped a coffee on her desk. You look terrible, Jennifer said. Thank you. I'm serious. When did you last sleep? Laura rubbed her eyes. I sleep. Lying down. Or just passing out at your desk. There's a difference. Jennifer sat on the edge of Laura's desk. Talk to me. What are you finding? Laura glanced around. The office was mostly empty. Still, she lowered her voice. Everything is legal. Technically. But the structure is designed to obscure, not to optimize. Meaning? Meaning someone is moving money they don't want traced. Jennifer whistled softly. And you're going to report this? I don't know yet. Laura, I know how this sounds. But if I report everything I'm finding, it doesn't just hurt him. It hurts everyone who works for him. The nurses. The staff. People who have nothing to do with whatever else is happening. Since when do you care about protecting people who work for criminals? Laura looked at her friend. Since I got pregnant by one, apparently. Jennifer's face softened. Have you decided what you're doing? About the baby? Laura touched her stomach. Still flat. Still just an idea, not a reality. I have an appointment tomorrow, Laura said quietly. At a clinic across town, to discuss options. You want company? No, but thank you. Jennifer squeezed her hand. Whatever you decide, I'm here. After Jennifer left, Laura sat alone at her desk. The office was quiet. Just the hum of computers and the distant sound of traffic. Her phone buzzed. A message from her mother in Lagos. Your father is asking when you are coming home. I told him you are busy with work. But Laura, it has been 2 years. We miss you. Laura stared at the message. Home. Lagos felt like a different life, a different version of herself. She typed back. I miss you too, Mama. Soon, I promise. She did not know if she was lying. The next morning, Laura took a taxi to a clinic in Itaewon, far from Gangnam, far from anyone who might know her. The waiting room was plain, functional. No lavender scent, no designer furniture, just plastic chairs and fluorescent lights, and other women with the same tight expression she probably wore. She filled out the paperwork. Real name this time. A counselor called her back. Young woman, kind eyes, no judgment. You're here to discuss your options, the counselor said. Yes, how far along are you? 7 weeks. The counselor nodded. Explain the procedures, the timelines, the risks, the recovery. She spoke like she had done this 1,000 times. Probably had. Do you have support? The counselor asked. Someone who can be with you afterward. Laura thought about Jennifer. About Nkechi, thousands of miles away. About Jun Hyuk, who had sent a car instead of showing up. Yes, she lied. The counselor gave her pamphlets. Scheduled a follow-up appointment for the following week if Laura decided to proceed. Take your time, the counselor said. This is your choice. No one else's. Laura left the clinic with the pamphlets in her bag and no idea what she was going to do. She walked for a while. Itaewon was different from Gangnam. More international. Less polished. She could hear English and Arabic and Russian mixing with Korean. She found herself outside a small cafe. Went inside. Ordered tea. Her phone rang. Jun Hyuk. She stared at the name on the screen, answered. Yes? Where are you? His voice was tight. That's none of your business. My security said you went to Itaewon. To a clinic. Laura's hand tightened on the phone. You're having me followed. I'm making sure you're safe. No, you're invading my privacy. Laura, please just tell me what you're doing. She almost hung up, almost screamed at him, almost threw the phone across the cafe. Instead, she said very quietly, I'm figuring out if I want to have this baby, and I don't need an audience while I do it. Silence on the other end. Then, I'm sorry. You're right, I'll call off the security. Thank you. But Laura, what? Whatever you decide, I'll support it. I know I've been terrible at showing that, but I mean it. She closed her eyes. Hated that his voice still did things to her heart. I have to go, she said. She hung up before he could respond. That weekend, Laura did something she had not done in months. She went to church. Not a Korean church. An international congregation that met in a rented building in Yongsan. Mostly Africans and Filipinos and other people, far from home looking for something familiar. She sat in the back and listened to the service in English. The pastor talked about choices and consequences and grace. Laura was not sure she believed in grace anymore, but she stayed until the end anyway. Afterward, an older Nigerian woman approached her. First time here? The woman asked in Igbo. Laura answered in the same language. Yes, ma. You look troubled, daughter. Laura smiled weakly. Just life. The woman patted her hand. Life is hard, but God is good, you remember that. Laura thanked her and left. On the taxi ride home, she made her decision. She was keeping the baby, not because of Jun-hyuk, not because of pressure or expectation or fear, because somewhere in the last 7 weeks, a small stubborn part of her had started to want this. Want the child. Want the impossible future it represented. She called Jun-hyuk that night. He answered on the first ring. I'm keeping it, she said. This doesn't mean we're together. This doesn't mean I forgive you. This just means I've made a choice about my own body. We'll figure out the rest later. Silence. Then so quietly she almost missed it. Thank you for telling me. I'm going to need space, Jun-hyuk. Real space. Not your version where you have me followed and send cars and manage everything from a distance. Okay, I mean it, I know. I'll respect that. I promise. She wanted to believe him. Good night, she said. Good night, Laura. She hung up and sat in the dark of her apartment. 7 weeks pregnant, auditing the father, a detective circling, a future she could not predict, but it was her choice, her life, that had to count for something. Monday morning, Laura walked into the office with her shoulders back. Mr. Park called her into his office before lunch. How's the audit progressing? He asked. I'm finding some interesting patterns in the financial structure. Interesting good or interesting problematic? Laura chose her words carefully. Interesting enough that I want to dig deeper before making conclusions. Mr. Park leaned back in his chair. You know this is a high-profile assignment. Chongwon Medical has powerful connections. We need to be thorough, but we also need to be smart. Meaning? Meaning don't go looking for problems that don't exist. But if problems do exist, document everything. Laura nodded. Understood. As she stood to leave, Mr. Park said, You're good at this, Laura. Don't let anything compromise that. She paused. Like what? Like personal entanglements. I've heard rumors. Her blood went cold. What kind of rumors? That you know Dr. So socially. Is that true? She could lie. Should lie. I met him a few months ago at an investment dinner. We spoke briefly. Nothing more. It was technically true. They had met at a dinner. Everything else had happened after. Mr. Park studied her face. Good. Keep it that way. Professional distance. Always. Of course. She left his office feeling like the walls were closing in. Someone was talking. Someone had seen her with Jun-hyuk and connected the dots. She thought about the detective. About his black car outside her building. About Jun-hyuk's mother, who she had never met but who probably knew everything. She went back to her desk and opened her email. A new message. No subject line. Sender address she did not recognize. She opened it. A single photograph. Laura and Jun-hyuk leaving a restaurant 2 months ago. His hand on her back. Her laughing at something he said. No text. Just the photo. Laura deleted the email immediately. Her hands were shaking. Someone was watching. Someone wanted her to know they were watching. She grabbed her phone and went to the bathroom. Locked herself in a stall and called Jun-hyuk. Someone sent me a photo, she said when he answered. Of us. From 2 months ago. What? His voice went sharp. What kind of photo? Nothing bad. Just us leaving a restaurant. But Jun-hyuk, someone is watching. Someone sent it to my work email. She heard him moving. A door closing. I'm handling this, he said. How? How are you handling this? I have people looking into who's been asking questions. Laura, I need you to trust me. That's really hard to do when my career is about to explode and you won't tell me why someone is targeting me. Before you keep listening, I need you to do something for me. If this story is getting intense, if you are feeling the tension, drop a comment and let me know. Tell me what you think is going to happen next. And if you are new here, welcome. You are in for a ride. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Can you meet me tonight? Somewhere private. I'll explain everything." Everything? Everything I can. She should say no. Should keep her distance like she promised herself. Where? She asked. My apartment. 8 o'clock. I'll make sure no one sees you arrive. This is a bad idea, I know, but I think we're past good ideas. She hung up and stared at herself in the bathroom mirror. 7 weeks pregnant. Career hanging by a thread. About to walk into the apartment of a man she could not trust and could not stay away from. Her reflection looked tired. You're an idiot, she told herself. Her reflection agreed. That evening, Laura took 3 different taxis to make sure no one followed her. She got out 2 blocks from Junhyuk's building and walked the rest of the way. The doorman recognized her. Said nothing. Just nodded her toward the elevator. She rode up to the 23rd floor alone. Junhyuk opened the door before she knocked. You're early, he said. I'm efficient. He almost smiled. Almost. She stepped inside. The apartment looked the same. Floor-to-ceiling windows. No, wait. She was not supposed to describe it that way. Large windows. City lights. The same view she had memorized months ago when things were simpler. Do you want something to drink? He asked. Water is fine. He brought her water. They sat in his living room like strangers. Talk, Laura said. Junhyuk leaned forward, elbows on his knees. 3 weeks ago, I received intelligence that a rival organization was making moves against me. Part of their strategy was identifying people close to me and using them as pressure points. What kind of organization? He looked at her. The kind that doesn't show up in corporate filings. You're talking about organized crime. Yes. Laura set down her water. And you're involved in this how? I inherited it. I inherited the clinic and the legitimate businesses. I also inherited his position in the Jianha syndicate. I didn't ask for it, but refusing would have been more dangerous than accepting. So you're a mob boss. I'm a doctor who happens to have other responsibilities. That's a nice way of saying you're a mob boss. He did not argue. Laura stood up, walked to the window, looked out at Seoul glittering below. Why are you telling me this now? She asked. Because you deserve to know what you're walking into. And because I need you to understand why I disappeared. I wasn't abandoning you. I was trying to protect you. She turned to face him. By shutting me out completely. By making me think I was nothing to you. I made a mistake. I thought distance would keep you safe. Instead, it just hurt you. Yes, it did. He stood. Walked toward her but stopped a few feet away. I'm sorry, Laura. I'm sorry for all of it. I should have told you the truth from the beginning. Would you have? If I hadn't gotten pregnant, would you ever have told me? He hesitated. That hesitation told her everything. I don't know, he admitted. At least he was honest. The detective who contacted me, Laura said. Woo Sang-il. He's building a case against you, isn't he? Yes. He's been trying for 2 years. He won't find anything. My legitimate businesses are clean, but your illegitimate ones aren't. No, and my audit could give him ammunition. Junhyuk's jaw tightened. Possibly. So what do you want me to do? Bury what I find? Lie in my report? I would never ask you to compromise yourself. But you're hoping I will anyway. He looked at her. Really looked at her. No. I'm hoping you'll be careful. For your sake, not mine. Careful how? The people I'm involved with, they don't play by normal rules. If they think you're a threat, they'll act. And I can't always control what they do. Fear curled in Laura's stomach. Are you threatening me? God. No. Laura, I'm trying to warn you. There are people in my world who see you as a problem. My mother, for one. My second in command, for another. They don't know about the baby yet, but when they find out, they'll have opinions. Let them have opinions. I don't care. You should care. These are people who make problems disappear. The fear turned cold. You mean they'd hurt me? They'd pressure you. Make your life difficult. Force you to leave Seoul. I won't let it get that far. But you need to know what we're dealing with. Laura walked back to the couch, sat down, put her head in her hands. This is insane. This whole situation is insane. Junhyuk sat beside her, not touching, just close. I know. And if I could go back and do everything differently, I would. But I can't, so all I can do is try to keep you safe now. She looked at him, at the man she had laughed with, slept beside, started to care about before everything went wrong. I don't need you to keep me safe, Junhyuk. I need you to be honest with me. No more disappearing. No more managing things behind my back. If we're going to do this, raise a child together or whatever this becomes, I need the truth. Okay, I can do that. Can you? Because your instinct is to control everything, to fix things without asking, and I can't live like that. I'll try, I'll really try. She wanted to believe him. I should go, she said. Stay, please, just for a little while. She should have left, should have maintained distance and boundaries, and all the smart things. She stayed. They talked for 2 more hours. About the baby, about logistics, about what happened next. He asked if she was feeling okay, if the nausea had improved, if she needed anything. She told him about the clinic in Itaewon, about almost going through with the termination. I'm glad you didn't, he said quietly, but I would have supported you either way. Would you really? Or would you have tried to talk me out of it? Honestly, I don't know. I've never been in this situation before. That makes 2 of us. Around 11, Laura called a taxi. Junhyuk walked her to the door. Thank you for coming, he said. For listening. Thank you for finally telling me the truth. He reached out, hesitated, then gently touched her face. I meant what I said. I'm going to do better. Be better. She leaned into his hand for just a second, then stepped back. Prove it, she said. The next week, Laura received a formal invitation, thick paper, embossed lettering, delivered by courier to her office. Ms. Laura Mensah is invited to tea with Mrs. Seo Yeonja, Saturday 3 o'clock, Bukshan Traditional House. No recipe information, because it was not really an invitation. It was a summons. Laura showed it to Jennifer. That's his mother, right? Jennifer asked. I assume so. Are you going to go? Do I have a choice? You always have a choice. Laura looked at the invitation again. The handwriting was perfect. The paper was expensive. Everything about it screamed power. I'm going, Laura said. If I don't, it just makes things worse. Saturday came too quickly. Laura dressed carefully. Conservative dress, minimal jewelry, hair neat. She looked like someone respectable. Someone who belonged in nice places. She did not feel like that person. The taxi dropped her in Bucheon. Traditional houses with curved roofs, narrow streets, tourists taking photos. The address led her to a house set back from the road. A gate, a garden. Everything immaculate. A housekeeper opened the door, led her through the house to a sitting room that overlooked the garden. Seo Yeonja sat on a cushion at a low table. She was smaller than Laura expected. Elegant, hair perfectly styled. Dressed in a hanbok that probably cost more than Laura's monthly rent. Ms. Mensah, she said in perfect English, please sit. Laura sat across from her. A tea set was already prepared. Yeonja poured with practiced grace. You're wondering why I invited you, Yeonja said. Yes, I wanted to meet the woman carrying my grandchild. So she knew. Of course she knew. How did you find out? Laura asked. I make it my business to know everything that affects my family. Your clinic appointment was flagged. My son's behavior has been unusual. It wasn't difficult to connect. Yeonja sipped her tea. Laura did the same. It was excellent tea. She barely tasted it. You don't approve, Laura said. Approval is irrelevant. You exist. The child exists. I deal in realities, not preferences. That's comforting. Yeonja's lips curved slightly, almost a smile. You have spirit. That's good. You'll need it. Why? Because my son has responsibilities you cannot understand. The Jeonha Syndicate has existed for 3 generations. It has rules, structures, hierarchies. A foreign woman with no connections and a complicated pregnancy disrupts all of that. Laura set down her teacup carefully. I didn't plan this. I didn't chase your son. I didn't get pregnant on purpose to trap him or access his world. I know. If I thought you were a schemer, we'd be having a very different conversation. Then what do you want from me? Yeonja looked at her directly. I want you to understand the cost of staying. Your career is already damaged. Your reputation is being questioned. These are just the beginning. If you stay with my son, if you raise this child in his world, you will always be the outsider, the foreign woman who doesn't belong. People will be cruel. They will test you. And I cannot protect you from all of it. I don't need your protection. Everyone needs protection, child. The question is whether you're strong enough to survive when it fails. Laura met her eyes. I've survived worse than gossip and social exclusion. Have you survived people who make other people disappear? The room went very cold. Is that a threat? Laura asked. It's a warning. There are factions within the syndicate who see you as a liability. My son can shield you from some of it, but not all. You need to decide if this life is worth that risk. Laura thought about the baby, about Junhyuk's hand on her face, about the future she had started to imagine despite everything. I've already decided, Laura said. I'm keeping the baby. I'm staying in Seoul, and I'm not going to let anyone, including you, make me feel small for it. Yanja studied her for a long moment. Then she reached beside her and pulled out a wrapped package. This belonged to my grandmother, she said. She made it for my son when he was born. I want your child to have it. Laura unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a traditional baby blanket, hand-stitched, beautiful. I don't understand, Laura said. I don't have to like this situation to accept it. You are carrying my grandchild. That makes you family whether I approve or not. And I protect family. Laura looked at the blanket, then at Yanja. Thank you, she said quietly. Don't thank me yet. The hard part is still coming. They finished their tea. Yanja asked polite questions about Laura's background, her education, her work. When Laura left an hour later, she felt like she had just survived an exam she had not studied for. But she had survived. That counted for something. The taxi ride back to her apartment, Laura held the blanket in her lap. She was 8 weeks pregnant, auditing a criminal organization, being courted by a detective who wanted her to betray the father of her child. And somehow, impossibly, she had just had tea with a crime boss's mother who had given her a family heirloom. Her life had become a drama she could not have written if she tried. Her phone buzzed. A message from Junhyuk. My mother said you did well. High praise from her. Laura smiled despite everything. Typed back. She's terrifying. Yes, but she likes you. That's important. How can you tell? You're still alive. Laura laughed. Actually laughed. Then another message came through. Can I take you to dinner this week? Somewhere quiet. Just us. She should say no, should maintain boundaries. Maybe, she typed. Ask me again tomorrow. I will. She put her phone away and looked out the taxi window at the city passing by. Seoul was beautiful at night. Complicated and expensive and unforgiving. But it was starting to feel like home. The dinner never happened. Tuesday morning, Laura woke up to 47 missed calls. Her phone was buzzing non-stop, messages flooding in. Her heart jumped into her throat. She opened the first message. From Jennifer, Laura, check the news now. She opened her laptop with shaking hands. The top entertainment and business gossip site had a headline that made her stomach drop. Daesung analyst in secret romance with audit target. Conflict of interest or corporate scandal. Below it, the photo. The same one from the anonymous email, but this time it was public. Laura and Junhyuk leaving the restaurant, his hand on her back. Her face turned toward him, smiling. The article was careful. No direct accusations, just insinuations, questions about ethics, mentions of the ongoing audit. Speculation about whether Laura's professional judgment had been compromised. Her phone rang. Mr. Park. She answered. My office now. He hung up. Laura got dressed in a blur. Her hands would not stop shaking. She put on her gray suit, the professional armor. It felt useless. The taxi ride to Daesung felt like a funeral procession. When she walked into the office, people stared. Conversations stopped. Someone whispered. Jennifer met her at her desk. I'm so sorry, Jennifer said. This is all over the business community. Everyone's talking about it. Who leaked the photo? I don't know. But Laura, this is bad. Ethics is already in Park's office. Laura took a breath, straightened her spine. Okay, let me handle this. Mr. Park's office had 3 people in it. Mr. Park himself, the head of HR, and the company's chief ethics officer. They did not ask her to sit. Is it true? Mr. Park asked. Were you involved with Dr. Seo before the audit assignment? Laura met his eyes. Yes. Did you disclose this relationship when you were assigned to the case? No, because it had ended weeks before the assignment. I didn't think it was relevant. The ethics officer leaned forward. You didn't think a personal relationship with an audit target was relevant. The relationship was over. I believed I could remain professional. Clearly, you were wrong, Mr. Park said. His voice was cold, disappointed. That hurt more than anger would have. I have maintained complete professional objectivity throughout this audit, Laura said. Every finding is documented. Every question is legitimate. My personal history with Dr. CO has not influenced my work. That may be true, the HR director said, but the appearance of impropriety is just as damaging as actual impropriety. You've created a scandal that reflects poorly on this entire firm. Laura's hands clenched at her sides. I understand that, but I haven't violated any actual policies. You violated the spirit of those policies, Mr. Park said. And in this business, that's enough. The ethics officer pulled out a folder. We're placing you on administrative leave effective immediately, pending a full investigation. You'll need to surrender your access badge and your company laptop. Laura felt the floor tilt. For how long? Until we determine an appropriate course of action. And the audit will be reassigned. She wanted to argue, wanted to fight, but she could see it in their faces. The decision was already made. I understand, she said quietly. She walked back to her desk in silence, packed her personal items into a box. Jennifer helped without saying anything. Security escorted her out of the building. She had worked at Daysong for 2 years, proven herself 100 times over, earned respect in a company that had not wanted to hire her in the first place. Gone in one morning. She sat in a cafe across the street from the office and stared at nothing. Her phone rang. June Hyuk. Laura, I just saw the article. I'm so sorry. Did you know this was coming? No, I swear. I'm trying to find out who leaked the photo. It doesn't matter now. The damage is done. Where are you? Let me come get you. No, I need to be alone. I said no, June Hyuk. She hung up. Her phone buzzed immediately. A text from an unknown number. Still think you made the right choice protecting him? Call me when you're ready to talk. Detective Wu. Laura deleted the message. Then she went home and cried for the first time in years. 3 days later, Laura was still in her apartment, still in pajamas, still trying to figure out what came next. Jennifer had visited twice, brought food, sat with her, did not ask questions Laura could not answer. Nkechi called every day from Accra. Just come home, Nkechi said. You don't need soul. You don't need that job. Come home and we'll figure it out. I can't, Nkechi. Why not? What's keeping you there? Laura touched her stomach. Still flat, still a secret. I just can't, not yet. On the 4th day, there was a knock at her door. She looked through the peephole. June Hyuk. She almost did not open it, almost pretended she was not home. But she was tired of hiding. She opened the door. He looked tired too. Hair not perfectly styled, shirt wrinkled. Human,
Can I come in?
he asked. She stepped aside. He walked into her small apartment, looked around. She realized he had never been here before. Their relationship had existed in his spaces. His apartment, nice restaurants, places he controlled. Nice place, he said. You're a terrible liar. He almost smiled. They stood in her tiny living room, awkward, like strangers. I found out who leaked the photo, he said. Who? A journalist who's been paid by the rival faction. They wanted to destabilize me by attacking people close to me. You were an easy target. Lucky me. Laura, why are you here, June Hyuk? To apologize again? To tell me you're handling it? What exactly do you think you can fix this time? He looked at her. Really looked at her. I came to tell you that I'm done. Done with what? With the syndicate. With that life. I'm walking away. Laura stared at him. You can't just walk away from organized crime. I can. I am. I've spent the last 3 days arranging it. My second in command will take over operations. I'll maintain the legitimate businesses. The rest I'm done. Why? Because you were right. I can't keep controlling everything. I can't keep managing threats and making decisions that hurt people I care about. And I can't raise a child in that world. Laura sat down on her couch. June Hyuk, that's not how this works. You don't just quit because things got hard. I'm not quitting because things got hard. I'm choosing a different life. I'm choosing you, if you'll let me. Her heart was doing something complicated in her chest. You hurt me, she said quietly. You disappeared when I needed you. You tried to control my life instead of being part of it. You can't just decide now that you want to change. I know. And I know I don't deserve another chance. But I'm asking for one anyway. Why should I give it to you? He sat down beside her. Not too close. Respectful of her space. Because despite everything, I think you still feel something for me. The same way I feel something for you. And because our child deserves parents who at least try. She wanted to argue, wanted to protect herself, but he was right. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I'm scared you'll hurt me again. I'm scared of your world. I'm scared I'm making a huge mistake. I'm scared too. I've never done this before. Been with someone who challenges me, who doesn't just accept whatever I decide. It's terrifying, but it's also the most real thing I've felt in years." Laura looked at him, at the careful walls coming down, at the man underneath the control. "If we do this," she said slowly, "we do it my way. No more secrets, no more managing me. We're partners or we're nothing." "Partners," he agreed. "I mean it, Junhyuk. The first time you try to control something without asking me, I'm gone. I understand." She studied his face, looking for the lie, the angle. She did not find one. "Okay," she said, "we can try." He let out a breath, like he had been holding it for days. "Thank you." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Laura said, "I have an ultrasound next week, at a clinic in Gangnam. Not yours. Do you want to come?" His face did something complicated. "Yes, I really do. Okay, I'll send you the details." He stood to leave, paused at the door. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry about your job. That's my fault." "No, that's the fault of whoever leaked the photo. And my fault for not disclosing the relationship. We both made mistakes. What will you do now?" "I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. I always do." He smiled. A real smile this time. "Yes, you will." After he's left, Laura sat alone in her apartment, unemployed, pregnant, involved with a man who was either walking away from organized crime or lying to her about it. But for the first time in weeks, she did not feel completely hopeless. That had to count for something. The next morning, Laura received a formal notice from Daesong. The ethics investigation had concluded. She had violated no specific policies, but her judgment had been questioned. They were offering her a severance package and a mutual separation agreement. In other words, resign quietly or be fired publicly. She read the offer 3 times. The severance was generous. 6-month salary, benefits continuation, a neutral reference. It was designed to make her go away quietly. Laura thought about it for approximately 10 minutes. Then she wrote a resignation letter. Brief, professional, effective immediately. She did not sign the mutual separation agreement, did not accept their narrative. She quit on her own terms. Emailed it to HR and Mr. Park. Then she closed her laptop and felt lighter than she had in days. Jennifer called within an hour. "You quit?" "I quit. Without the severance protection. I don't need their protection. I didn't do anything wrong." Jennifer was quiet for a moment. "I'm going to miss you. I'm not leaving, Seoul. You're stuck with me. Good. Because you're my only friend who makes this corporate nightmare tolerable." They talked for a while longer, made plans for dinner, promised to stay in touch. When Laura hung up, her phone immediately rang again. Unknown number, but she recognized it. "Detective Wu," she answered. "Miss Mensa, I heard about your resignation. News travels fast. In my line of work, yes. I wanted to reach out one more time. Offer you a different path. I'm not interested in being your informant, detective. I'm not asking you to be. But I am asking you to think about what you found in that audit. About where that money is really going. About who gets hurt when people like Dr. CO operate without consequences." Laura walked to her window, looked out at the city. "You think you're the hero in this story," she said. "The good detective taking down the bad guys. But you don't care about who Kyurch and the Crossfire, do you? I care about justice. You care about your case. There's a difference," he sighed. "Maybe you're right, but the offer stands. If you change your mind, you know how to reach me. I won't change my mind. We'll see." He hung up. Laura stood at the window for a long time. She had made her choice. Right or wrong, it was hers. Now she just had to live with it. The ultrasound appointment was on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Laura arrived early, sat in the waiting room trying not to be nervous. Junhyuk arrived exactly on time. He spotted her immediately. Sat down beside her. "Hi," he said. "Hi. How are you feeling?" "Nauseous, tired, emotional." "Theo," he smiled. "That's normal, I think. You're the doctor, you tell me." "I'm a cardiologist. Pregnancy is not exactly my specialty." Comforting. They sat in comfortable silence until Laura's name was called. The ultrasound tech was cheerful and efficient. She had Laura lie back, put gel on her stomach, and turned on the machine. The room went dark except for the screen. At first, Laura could not make sense of what she was seeing. Just gray shapes and shadows. Then the tech pointed. "There, that's the baby." A small blob, barely recognizable as human, but the heartbeat was clear. A rapid flutter on the screen. Laura's breath caught. Jun-hyuk reached for her hand. She let him take it. They watched the screen in silence, watching their child exist, real and undeniable. Everything looks good, the text said. Strong heartbeat, good size for 9 weeks. I'll print you some pictures. When the appointment was over, they walked out of the clinic together. Jun-hyuk was still holding the ultrasound photos. Can I keep one, he asked. You can keep both if you want. Just one. You should have the other. They stood on the sidewalk. People rushed past them. The city kept moving. Do you want to get coffee? Jun-hyuk asked. I can't have coffee. Pregnancy. Tea then, or juice, or just sit somewhere that's not a sidewalk. Laura smiled. Okay, tea sounds good. They found a quiet cafe. Sat in the back corner. Jun-hyuk ordered for both of them. Remembered she liked her tea with honey. That small detail made her heart hurt in a good way. I talked to my mother, he said, about stepping back from the syndicate. She wasn't happy. I can imagine. But she understands, she said, and I quote, You're softer than your father, but maybe that won't kill you. Laura laughed. High praise. From her, yes. Their tea arrived. They drank in comfortable silence. Then Jun-hyuk said, I want to be there. For all of it. Appointments, decisions, late-night cravings, whatever you need. That's a lot to commit to. I know, but I'm committing anyway. Laura looked at him, at the earnest expression, the hope. Okay, she said, but I'm holding you to it. The first time you bail, we're done. I won't bail. Prove it. I will. Before we get to what happens next, I need to ask you something. Have you subscribed yet? Because this story is about to get even more intense, and you do not want to miss what is coming. Hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you will thank me later. 2 weeks later, Laura got a job offer. It came through a recruiter she had worked with before. A senior analyst position at an international firm with a Seoul office. Better title than Daesung, better pay, clean reputation. The recruiter was almost too enthusiastic. They specifically asked for you, she said. Said you came highly recommended. Laura knew immediately what had happened. She called Jun-hyuk. Did you arrange the job offer from Hansen International? Silence. Jun-hyuk. I made one phone call, just to make sure they knew you were available. The offer is real. You earned it. We talked about this. No managing my life without asking. You're right. I'm sorry. Do you want me to undo it? She should be angry. Should hang up and make a point. But she also needed a job, and the offer was good. Really good. No, she said finally. But next time, ask me first. Next time I will, I promise. There's going to be a next time, isn't there? Probably. I'm working on it. Despite everything, she smiled. I'm taking the job, she said. Good. You'll be great at it. I know I will. She started at Hansen 2 weeks later. The team was professional and international. No one asked about her personal life. No one whispered. It felt like starting over. She was 3 months pregnant now, starting to show just enough that loose clothing was becoming strategic. Jun-hyuk had been good to his word. He showed up, remembered things, asked before making decisions. They were not exactly together, but they were not apart either. It was complicated, but it was working. Then Keiichi called. I'm coming to Seoul, she announced. What, when? Next week. I already bought the ticket. Surprise. Laura's stomach dropped. Keiichi, now is really not a good time. Why not? You keep saying you're fine, but you sound stressed. I'm coming. End of discussion. Keiichi, I'll see you next Tuesday. I land at 2. I'll text you the details. Love you, bye. She hung up before Laura could argue. Laura immediately called Jun-hyuk. My sister is coming to Seoul. Okay, that's good, right? She doesn't know about the baby, or you, or any of this. So tell her. It's not that simple. Keiichi's protective and nosy, and she doesn't understand boundaries. She sounds delightful. She is. But she's also going to ask a million questions and probably decide she hates you on principle. Jun-hyuk was quiet for a moment. Do you want me to meet her? I don't know. Maybe, eventually, just not immediately. Whatever you want, I'll follow your lead. That was the right answer. And Keiichi arrived on Tuesday with 2 suitcases and enough energy to power a small city. She hugged Laura so hard they both almost fell over. I missed you, Keiichi said. You look different. Did you cut your hair? No. Lose weight? No. Gain weight? Wait, are you eating enough? You look thin. We're getting food immediately. Laura helped her sister navigate the subway to her apartment, and Keiichi talked the entire time. About school, about their parents, about everything Laura had missed in Accra. At the apartment, Keiichi immediately sprawled on the couch. This place is tiny. How do you live here? It's Seoul. Everything is tiny and expensive. Still, you're fancy corporate now. I expected better. Laura made tea, brought it to the living room. Nkechi was watching her with sharp eyes. Okay, Nkechi said. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Laura, I'm your sister. I know when you're lying. You've been weird on the phone for weeks. Now tell me what's happening, or I'll start guessing, and we both know I'm annoyingly accurate. Laura sat down, put her tea on the coffee table. I'm pregnant, she said. Nkechi's mouth fell open. You're what? Pregnant, almost 3 months. Oh my God, Laura. Does Mama know? Not yet. Who's the father? Wait, is it that guy you were seeing? The one you stopped mentioning? Yes. And where is he? Is he stepping up, or do I need to find him and have words? Despite everything, Laura smiled. He's stepping up, mostly. Mostly? What does mostly mean? It means it's complicated. It's always complicated with you. Nkechi moved to sit beside Laura, took her hand. Are you okay? Really okay? Laura felt tears prick her eyes. I'm figuring it out. Do you love him? I don't know. Maybe. It's too messy to call it love yet. Does he love you? I think he's trying to. Nkechi squeezed her hand. Then that's something. You'll figure it out. You always do. They sat together for a while, Laura's head on her sister's shoulder. I want to meet him, Nkechi said. I know, you will. Just maybe give me a few days? Fine. But I'm judging him extremely hard when I do meet him. I would expect nothing less. The next few days were good. Laura showed Nkechi around Seoul. They ate street food and visited palaces and took 1,000 photos. Nkechi was charming and loud and made friends everywhere they went. Laura had forgotten what it felt like to just be happy. Then, on Thursday evening, they were walking back to Laura's apartment from dinner. 2 men stepped out of a black car parked on the corner. Excuse me, one of them said in Korean. Are you Nkechi Minsa? Nkechi looked at Laura. What are they saying? The man switched to English. We'd like you to come with us, just for a conversation. Laura stepped in front of her sister. Who are you? Friends of Dr. Seo. We just want to talk to your sister. Make sure she understands the situation. She's not going anywhere with you. The second man smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It's not a request. Laura pulled out her phone, started to dial Junhyuk. The first man gently took the phone from her hand. It's okay. We're not going to hurt anyone. We just need a few minutes. Nkechi grabbed Laura's arm. Laura, what's happening? It's fine, Laura lied. Just stay calm. The men gestured to the car. Please. They got in the car. Because what else could they do? The drive was short. They were taken to an office building in Gangnam, led upstairs to a conference room. A man in his 40s was waiting, well-dressed, cold eyes. Miss Menza, he said to Nkechi, I'm Cha Hyun-woo. I work with Dr. Seo. What do you want? Laura demanded. I want to have a conversation with your sister. You're welcome to stay. He gestured for them to sit. They sat. Hyun-woo leaned back in his chair, studied them both. Your sister is involved in a complicated situation, he said to Nkechi. She's carrying the child of a man with significant responsibilities. Responsibilities that come with risks. Are you threatening her? Nkechi asked. No, I'm explaining reality. Seoul can be dangerous for people who don't understand how things work. I'm suggesting that perhaps you should go home to Accra. And perhaps your sister should consider whether staying here is the wisest choice. Laura's hands clenched under the table. You have no right. I have every right to protect my organization. And right now, you are a complication we don't need. He stood. This conversation is over. My men will drive you home. Think about what I said. They were driven back to Laura's apartment in silence. When they got inside, Nkechi turned to Laura. What the hell was that? Who are these people? Laura sat down heavily. Remember when I said it was complicated? Laura, the father of my baby is involved in organized crime. Not directly. He's trying to get out. But the people he works with, they don't want complications. And apparently, we're complications. Nkechi stared at her. Are you serious right now? I wish I wasn't. Laura, you need to leave. Come home, get away from these people. I can't. Why not? Because I'm not letting them win. I'm not letting them scare me into running. That's not brave, that's stupid. Maybe. But it's my choice. Nkechi looked at her sister. Then she pulled out her phone. What are you doing? Laura asked. Calling Mama. You need backup. Nkechi. No, but she was already dialing. Laura grabbed the phone. Don't, please. I will tell her, but on my own timeline. Not like this. Nkechi looked mutinous, but she put the phone away. Fine. But I'm not leaving you alone in this. You have to go back to school. School can wait. My sister being threatened by mobsters is more important. Laura wanted to argue, but honestly, she was tired of being alone in this. Okay, she said, you can stay a little longer, but you have to be careful. No asking questions. No investigating. Just stay close and stay safe. Deal. That night, Laura called Junhyuk. Your people picked up my sister. What? His voice went sharp. Hyun-woo. He had her brought in for a conversation, told her to go home, told me to reconsider staying in Seoul. Junhyuk swore. Creatively, I'm handling this right now. How? I'm going to make it very clear that my family is off limits. Laura, I'm sorry. This is exactly what I was trying to prevent. I know, but you need to handle it. Because if anyone comes near my sister again, I'm going to the police. I don't care what it costs. Understood. I'll fix this. He hung up. Laura sat with her phone in her hand. This was her life now. Threats and power plays and men making decisions that affected her without asking. She was so tired of it, but she was not giving up. Not yet. The next morning, Junhyuk called. It's handled. Hyun-woo has been told to back off. No one will approach your sister again. How can you be sure? Because I made it clear that if anything happens to either of you, I'm done with all of them, and they need me more than I need them. That sounds dangerous. It's the truth. My mother backed me up. She might not like you, but she respects that you're carrying her grandchild. That means you're protected. Laura let out a breath. Okay. Thank you. Laura, I think you and Nkechi should move. Just temporarily, until things settle. I have a secure apartment in my building. Different floor from mine. 24-hour security. Junhyuk, I know, I'm managing. But this time I'm asking, please, for my own peace of mind. She wanted to say no, wanted to maintain her independence, but Nkechi was in danger because of her. And that changed things. Okay, but just until Nkechi goes home. Then I'm going back to my place. Deal. They moved that afternoon. The apartment was beautiful, secure. Everything Junhyuk had promised. Nkechi was impressed despite herself. Okay, I'm starting to see why you like this guy. I don't like him because of his apartment, but it doesn't hurt. Laura smiled. That evening, Junhyuk came by. He brought food, enough for an army. Laura introduced him to Nkechi. They shook hands, sized each other up. You're the one who got my sister pregnant, Nkechi said. Yes. And you're involved in organized crime. I was. I'm not anymore. That's convenient timing. Nkechi, Laura warned. But Junhyuk smiled. No, she's right to be suspicious. I would be too. All I can tell you is that I'm trying to be better, to do right by your sister. I know I've messed up, but I'm here now and I'm not going anywhere. Nkechi studied him for a long moment. Okay, I'll give you a chance. But hurt her again and I'll find a way to make your life miserable. Fair enough. They ate together. It was awkward at first. Then Junhyuk asked Nkechi about school, and she started talking and did not stop for 20 minutes. Laura watched them. Watched Junhyuk actually listen, actually engage. It was nice. Seeing pieces of her life come together. After dinner, Nkechi excused herself to call a friend. Laura walked Junhyuk to the door. She's great, he said. I can see why you wanted to protect her. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for letting me in. I know it's not easy. No. But it's getting easier. He smiled, then hesitated. Can I? He gestured vaguely toward her. Can you what? Touch you. I don't want to assume. Her heart did something complicated. Yes. He gently placed his hand on her stomach, still barely a bump. But there. Hi, he said softly. To the baby. I'm your dad. I'm going to try really hard not to mess this up. Laura's eyes stung with tears. This man. This complicated, controlling, trying his best man. She was definitely falling for him. Maybe had already fallen. You're doing okay so far, she said. He looked up at her. Yeah? Yeah. He kissed her forehead. Soft, careful. Then he left. Laura stood at the door for a long time after he was gone. Nkechi poked her head out of her room. Okay, I like him. He's good for you. You were eavesdropping, obviously. That's what sisters do. Laura laughed. For the first time in months, everything felt like it might actually be okay. 2 weeks later, Nkechi flew back to Accra. Laura took her to the airport. They hugged for a long time. Take care of yourself, Nkechi said. And that baby. And call me if anything happens. I will. I mean it. Anything. I know. I love you. Love you too. Laura watched her sister disappear through security. Then she went back to the apartment. Her apartment now. Junhyuk had offered to let her stay, but she had moved back to her own place. She needed some independence, some space that was just hers. But Jun-hyuk came by most evenings, brought food, sat with her. They talked, really talked, about childhoods and fears and hopes. Laura learned about his father, the pressure, the expectations, the weight of inheriting a legacy he never wanted. Jun-hyuk learned about Lagos, about being the eldest daughter, about carrying her family's hopes on her back across continents. They were both so tired of carrying things alone. At 4 months pregnant, Laura started showing for real. No more hiding it with loose clothes. Hansen International was supportive. They had good maternity policies. Her boss was a woman who had 3 kids and understood. Laura was grateful. The audit findings from Daesong were never released publicly. The case went quiet. Laura suspected Jun-hyuk had something to do with that. She did not ask. Detective Woo stopped calling. The gossip about the scandal faded. Seoul moved on to the next drama. Laura's life became almost normal. Work, doctor appointments, evenings with Jun-hyuk, weekend calls with Nkechi and her mother, who finally knew about the baby and had opinions, but was mostly just happy. At 6 months, they found out they were having a girl. Jun-hyuk cried, actually cried. Laura held his hand and felt something settle in her chest. This was really happening. They were really doing this. At 7 months, Laura woke up in the middle of the night with an idea. She called Jun-hyuk. "Move in with me," she said. "What? Not your mine. It's small and not fancy, but it's mine, and I want you here. Not visiting, here." "Are you sure?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway." He moved in 3 days later. It was chaos at first. He had too many things. Her apartment was too small. They bickered about closet space and kitchen organization. It was perfect. At 8 months, Yanja visited. She brought more baby gifts, was marginally warmer, actually smiled when she felt the baby kick. "She's strong," Yanja said, like her mother. Laura did not correct her assumption that she meant physically strong. At 38 weeks, Laura went into labor. Jun-hyuk panicked. Actually panicked. The composed doctor lost his mind. Laura had to talk him through breathing exercises while having contractions. It would have been funny if it had not hurt so much. 14 hours later, Adeze Seomensa was born. Small. Perfect. Screaming at the top of her lungs. Jun-hyuk cut the cord with shaking hands. Laura held her daughter and cried. All of it. Everything that had led here. The checkup. The shock, the scandal, the threats, the fear. Worth it. All of it worth it for this. Jun-hyuk sat beside the hospital bed, stared at his daughter like she was a miracle. "She's so small," he whispered. "She's perfect. She looks like you. She has your nose." "Poor thing." Laura laughed, then winced. Everything hurt. But it was a hurt. A beginning hurt. Nkechi video called from Accra, cried happy tears. Maid Laura promised to bring the baby home soon. Jennifer visited with flowers and a stuffed animal bigger than the baby. Yanja came, held her granddaughter, looked at Laura with something that might have been respect. "You did well," she said simply. From her, it was high praise. Detective Wu sent a card. "Congratulations. May she inherit your spine and his stubbornness. Best combination." Laura smiled at that. 3 days later, they brought Adeze home. The apartment was full of flowers, baby supplies, and chaos. Jun-hyuk tried to organize everything. Laura told him to stop. They bickered. The baby cried. They figured it out. It was messy and hard and nothing like Laura had planned, but it was theirs. Late one night, Laura sat in the nursery feeding Adeze. Jun-hyuk appeared in the doorway. "Can't sleep?" Laura asked. "I just wanted to check on you both." He sat on the floor beside the rocking chair. Watched them. "I never thought I'd have this," he said quietly. "Have what?" "A family. A real one. Not the organization or the legacy. Just this. People I love who love me back." Laura's throat tightened. "You have it now." "I know. I'm terrified I'll mess it up." "You will. We both will. That's parenting." He smiled. "That's comforting. But we'll figure it out. Together." "Together," he agreed. Adeze finished eating. Laura handed her to Jun-hyuk. He held her like she was made of glass. Laura watched them. Her daughter. Her, whatever Jun-hyuk was. Partner. Co-parent. The man she was definitely in love with, even if they had not said it yet. Her family. She had come to Seoul for a career. Stayed because leaving felt like giving up. Found something she had not been looking for. The checkup that changed everything. The diagnosis that led her here. She would not change any of it. Well, maybe some of it. The scandal could have been skipped. And the threats. Definitely the threats. But the rest, the messy, complicated, impossible rest, she would not trade it. Outside the window, Soul glowed. Still beautiful, still expensive, still unforgiving. It was home now. If you made it to the end of this story, thank you for staying with Laura through everything. Her journey was not easy, but she made it. And if this story touched you, if you felt something, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear a story about a woman who refused to be small, and drop a comment telling me what you thought. Did you love it? Hate it? Want more stories like this? Let me know. I read every single comment. Until next time, remember that your story is yours. Do not let anyone write it for you.